What's going on, guys? We are back here for another edition of FanDuel Friday, sponsored by FanDuel and RotoGrinders. And I am your host, Drizzy26, Andre Alford, and I'm here with my good friend, TJ Zwarych. Where we're here to break down this beautiful, lovely two-game slate. Well, two-game slates, I should say. We got the Saturday slate, which I know didn't happen last week. But I can't say it's going to happen this week, but I'm going to hope it happens this week. And then we got the Sunday slate. So we're going to start breaking it down for you, going over the plays, what we think about each matchup and the game, and go from there. TJ, how are you doing?
Doing very well. Always fun to hang out with you on a Friday evening. We did crunch time for NBA together. Now, getting things going for NFL, and it's fun during playoffs, man. Just getting this NBA Fridays, NBA and NFL Saturdays, both on Sundays. It's enjoyable. These games matter. The slates still have good enough prize pools that you can still try and find ways to take down a lot of money, even though it's only 2 games. And so for me personally, these 2 to 4 game stuff, to be honest, that's sort of where I've always thrived. And so showdown stuff, 2 games, finding just a way to get a little bit different without getting too much different, and you can take down a lot of money. So I'm pretty excited about this one.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. But me when it comes to basketball, the smaller slates, I will crush them in a heartbeat. But these big, but I know what you mean. So, and you're probably the better right now football GPP player right now. But so we're gonna get a lot of your takes on this show too when it comes to it. And we're gonna start off here with the quarterback position for this Saturday main slate, which will be featured the Jacksonville Jaguars going against the Kansas City Chiefs and the Giants going against the Philadelphia Eagles. So we got the quarterbacks where we have Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence, and Daniel Jones. Who are you looking at this week and possibly playing?
So weirdly enough, the only one without a little color beside his name, Jalen Hurts, is going to be my priority for optimal lineups standpoints. And one of the reasons I love going with Hurts is because you don't really have to stack. I do think this first game is going to be higher scoring. I think it's going to be the more competitive of the two. I think we probably see Kansas City. Like the way I see both of these games going is basically Kansas City gets to the early lead. Jacksonville's going to be throwing the ball on because Lawrence and the Jags have a lot of firepower, and KC's defense isn't all that strong, although they can rush the passer. I think Jacksonville can score some points and get some fantasy points throughout this game. On the New York and Philly side of things, I do still think Philly is going to come out to the early lead, but I think their defense is good enough that they're going to be able to stop the Giants, and the Giants aren't going to be able to put much together in this one. And so I'm interested in Hurts because he can still run the ball into the end zone or run the ball down the field, even if they are running lots. He's coming off a bad game. Hopefully that'll against these same Giants. So hopefully, but it was the last game of the season. It didn't really matter. And so hopefully that gets people to shy away, but he's going to be my favorite. Mahomes is 1B for me. Like I would definitely want to play one of these two because I don't think you really need the salary savings on this 2-game slate, oddly enough, to go down to Trevor Lawrence and Daniel Jones because unless you're playing Saquon Barkley, which is a stand I want to take, I don't think I need to play Saquon Barkley, then you can pay up for either one of these expensive quarterbacks. It's basically looking at, do I want to go stars and scrubsy with Hurts or Mahomes and Saquon, and then I have to find some value? Or can I go one of these cheap quarterbacks with Saquon, and then I can fill up my lineup however I want? For me, I think I'm going to go without Saquon and stick with Hurts and Mahomes.
And I completely understand and get that point and where your stand is, and it's not a bad one. I personally, I love Patrick Mahomes. Think he's a fantastic play. But I kind of have some interest in Daniel Jones and Trevor Lawrence, like probably more than Jalen Hurts, a lot more than Jalen Hurts. Just from the standpoint of they're underdogs, so they're gonna have to be throwing the ball to catch up. But also with the but also from a standpoint, Daniel Jones has been like the second highest rusher on that offense. I know the Philadelphia defense is also more tougher. But he also has found a groove where he has Isaiah Hodgins to throw to. So I don't mind Daniel Jones here in a game that I think is going to go under. So I think like my game script for that game is going to be low scoring. So really, I would really should not play both quarterbacks. But if I'm going to play any quarterback from the game, I think it would be Daniel Jones because I'll just take the risk that he can, throw the ball to a couple of touchdowns to Hodges, maybe run one in as well. And then Saquon gets like one, maybe two. Also, if it was to ever be a high scoring game in that scenario, but I think I like Daniel Jones a lot, and Trevor Lawrence. This secondary for Kansas City has been obviously they're getting a lot healthier, getting better, but I still think they can give up a lot of points. So I don't mind taking the shots on Trevor Lawrence here, and he does have this record where he is like 16-0 on Saturdays. Dating back to when he was in high school. I don't buy that in the NFL, but you never know. If it could be this, it's just a little bit superstitious, maybe in me that maybe you should just play one lineup with them. But if I had to rank them though, it would be Mahomes, Jones, no Mahomes, Lawrence, Jones, and then Hurts because I'm prioritizing that first game more than than the second game because I think, like I said, the second game is going to go under the score since Brian Daboll, the head coach of the Giants, knows how to really prepare for these teams really well.
I think Lawrence is my least favorite of the group just because of his stacking options. The Jags are priced well on this slate. Christian Kirk up at 7,600, Zay Jones at 6,500. I guess we'll get there. We'll get there when we get to receiver. Let's pivot over to running back here. This is the big thing that I was talking about. Like, you simply don't need to play those two cheap quarterbacks unless you're playing Saquon Barkley. If you play one of those two cheap quarterbacks without Barkley, so that includes Daniel Jones, that means you will be leaving salary on the table. So just because of that, I don't really, I would rather just take the safety of the two top QBs, or I don't mind the Daniel Jones route because there are still some routes you can take with you get AJ Brown in there. You get Christian Kirk in there, Travis Kelce, and all of a sudden you can get some hard hitters in there as well. So I actually don't hate the idea of going Daniel Jones without Saquon because you can still fill out a lineup. But the Lawrence with Saquon route, I think that's going to be my least favorite build pattern of the group. Barkley's priced all the way up at 8.5. Miles Sanders at 7.2 is somebody I want to play if I'm not playing Hurts. I want to play either Hurts or Sanders. But Jerick McKinnon and Travis Etienne at 7 and 6.8, I think are going to be my two priorities.
Yeah, I'm not I get the Saquon play. I probably will have a little bit of him if I'm making a lot of lineups tomorrow. But I'd rather not pay the 8.5. To me, getting different would be fading him altogether. Going with the passing game of the Giants, which I'm more higher on, since I think they're going to try to use him more because Philly's run defense played him really well the last time they played, and so I'll be going with guys like you said, that mid range like Miles Sanders, Jerry McKinnon, Travis Etienne, Isaiah Pacheco, even mixing up with Kenneth Gainwell and Boston Scott just to get different in tournaments. Those are the guys I would be trying to get to a lot more of.
Before we swap to the Sunday slate, I'm going to talk you into Jalen Hurts because look at how this lineup is going to end up getting built here. Look at the running backs that we like. We want to fade Saquon Barkley, right? That's our tournament stand. We both feel the same way there, right? So there's two different ways we can go about this. We could do a double Kansas City running backs and then play Kansas City's defense with them. And then that leaves you with, for sure, I want to play Jalen Hurts because obviously I don't want to go Mahomes there and I'm going to have the salary. And so you still get your attachment to KC by doing that. Or you can just go one of McKinnon or Pacheco, my favorite being McKinnon, with Travis Etienne. And then you still play these pass catchers for the Giants. You can still play Richie James. You can still play Isaiah Hodgins. And then you pop Dallas Goedert in there. You choose one of AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, and that basically fills out your lineup. You got a stack. You got two run backs, and still a ton of exposure to the first game via the running game.
Yeah, true. I mean that is if you're playing the angle, and I agree with you 100% with that. That is though if you're playing the angle that the game's going over. I think the game still goes under, but it's just more focused on the running game, because the Giants' defense is nothing to play with a little bit either. They are a really good defense in my opinion. They prepare really well, so that's the thing I don't mind. So that's why I don't mind taking that stand of fading Hurts, but going with the running backs, playing maybe a little bit of playing a little bit of Daniel Jones, but probably focusing more on that first game, and just getting a lot of my exposure from, like I said, the running game and the receivers in these spots here. I think that's the way I would go about it, just to be a little bit different from everyone else, and leave salary on the table. Going with these back, like I said, going with the Kenneth Gainwells and the Boston Scotts. No one's going to play those guys, and if you're making a lot of lineups, I think you could easy. If they score a touchdown, you're gonna need that, especially on a site like FanDuel to take first place and take it down solo. And that's what I'm thinking about is how can I take this down solo and build a perfect game script at the same time that is realistic, you know?
Mm-hmm. Let's pivot over to the receiver position. I agree with you there. That does make sense to me. I'm just trying to fiddle around with some Mahomes type builds here, see if there's anything I like. And weirdly enough, it leaves me with the lineup that I want to make with same thing that we had talked about earlier on another site with wanting to play, I guess, a Sky Moore or a Justin Watson because they just happen to fit that build. But I think it would probably make more sense for me to just get rid of Miles Sanders on this team that I'm doing. And then it does leave open the Boston Scott, Kenneth Gainwell type shots that you were talking about earlier with the Eagles defense. Now I'm starting to build some teams that I don't mind a little bit here, but it's still leading me towards wanting to go Hurts or Mahomes. And Barkley is the biggest fade that I'm looking at. So at the receiver position, my two like go-to players I would probably be plugging in first without considering my quarterback would be Zay Jones and Isaiah Hodgins. Hodgins has just been a touchdown machine lately. Zay Jones has just consistently been getting targets, especially in a matchup against a team like the Chiefs where there's going to be a lot of pressure on Trevor Lawrence. They have a great front four, and so there's probably going to be a lot of quick outlets to Zay Jones and Evan Ingram through the middle of the field. Isaiah Hodgins has scored a touchdown in 5 of his last 7 games, I believe, getting tons of targets. Those are going to be my optimally favorite 2, but for tournaments, I think without a doubt my favorite receiver on the slate is going to be Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, Kadarius Toney he's going to be so low on here, and he has a chance for a monster game here. So I love the call Kadarius Toney for sure. Someone I definitely would love to will get over the field on here in this spot. I like Isaiah Hodgins a lot as well. Those another guy would be focused on a lot of here, as well as Zay Jones, like you mentioned. Being and Christian Kirk, let's not forget about him. He came to life and had a good game. He had 2 back-to-back good games here against the Kansas, against the Chargers, and against Tennessee. So I think he can definitely have a big game here against Kansas City. He did when they played early this season. I know they're going to probably be spying on him and playing and keep an eye on him a lot now. But I think that but I think Jacksonville has some different game plans up their sleeve and different ways where they can get him the ball. AJ Brown.
Personally, the reason why Kirk isn't really going to be for me is just because I basically view Zay Jones and Christian Kirk the same. And Zay has an $1,100. He's $1,100 cheaper, and he's actually coming in less owned out of the 2 of them. And so because of that, it just makes me want to go to Zay. Or if I'm not, I'll kind of set you back up here for what you were talking about. I'd rather go to AJ or Devontae Smith instead of Christian Kirk.
Yeah, and these guys around him, I don't mind taking some shots on them too. But how much am I going to play them? I'm not sure. I like I said, I think the game's going to go under, but I still think the targets will be there for these guys. But touchdowns matter more so on these sites here. That's the thing, and that's the name of the game is touchdowns. So AJ Brown is someone, and Devontae Smith is someone I want to get some exposure to for sure, but I probably will have more so Devonta just because he's more cheaper in that price range. And my strategy is trying to leave some salary on the table to get different in lineups here. And Slayton is someone I don't mind taking some shots on as well too. And I know he doesn't play a lot. What if this is the game? Hear me out. That Kenny Galladay just scores a touchdown.
I will not hear you out.
What? Like I understand. He has
Play
to get.
Kez Watkins for 100 more. Play Sky Moore for the same price. Justin Watson or Jamal Agnew. All of those guys are going to be 1% owned. Go with them instead of Kenny Galladay because they're equally unique with a way better chance of scoring. I'd rather take shots on Marvin Jones Jr., Marquez Valdez-Scantling, two guys who are going to be sub 10%. Darius Slate is going to be more owned, but I'd way rather play him than Kenny Galladay. Heck no. Let's pivot over to tight end because I'm not even going to let you give a Kenny Galladay argument. At tight end, I do think there is a interesting giant that you can play, though, because to me, I think Dallas Goedert and Evan Ingram are a little overpriced here. I don't mind either of them. I would pair them with my quarterbacks. But to me, I'm either trying to spend up for Travis Kelce or spend down, all the way down to a $4,900 Daniel Bellinger. If you want to take a shot on a low-owned, cheap New York Giant, even if it's in the flex at 4,900, play the tight end in the double flex instead of Kenny Galladay. Weirdly enough, despite him being a tight end, I think I prioritize out of the three guys above 8K, Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, and Travis Kelce. I think Travis Kelce is my priority.
Yes, I agree with that 100%. I'm not gonna go back to Kenny Galladay. I promise.
If he scores now, this is gonna be a funny clip.
Yes, and I'm gonna put a bet. I'm not gonna play him. I want to play him if I'm running like 10 lineups. I'll play him in one, but I am gonna put a bet on him to score a touchdown anytime TD on FanDuel and see what happens. But Travis Kelce, yes, I agree with that. He is number one priority for me here on this slate. I think you have to get him a lot. He's the best 8K guy. Like to me, he might end up being just a lock. Like just lock this guy in. He's going to get a lot of targets. It's just a matter if he's going to get the end zone or not. I don't mind even going double tights here and going with a guy like Dallas Goedert or Evan Ingram on the other side as well. So those are guys that definitely be looking at more and trying to get them a lot more in my lineups. Bellinger is also a good option too as well. And I don't disagree with you at all. I just might hit the lock button on Travis Kelce though. Like you said, he's the best spend up. Probably as a skill position on the slate, that should be made more of a priority.
I agree with you there, and I like the double tight end approach. The one thing I would say is I'd probably make a rule. I don't think I'd lock Kelce. I'd have a ton of them. I don't think I'd quite go lock. I'd try and at least double the field there, though. And then I would make a rule. I don't want to play Goddard unless I have Jalen Hurts in my lineup. Unless Jalen Hurts is my quarterback, I'm not playing Dallas Goedert. And then I would mix in a little Daniel Bellinger in the flex, a little Evan Ingram in there as well. At defense, play any of them. The Eagles and the Chiefs are the best plays. Jacksonville and the Giants are the cheap, low-owned plays. It is what it is. Maybe they get some sacks. Maybe they get a pick six to make it worth it. We saw last week the defense against the quarterback gets the pick six, and then they happen to be the optimal defense even against the optimal quarterback. So play whoever the heck you want on defense. Should we pivot over to Sunday?
Yes, let's go over to Sunday for sure. And we have my two favorite games on the slate. We got my guy, Joe Burrow, Joe Shiesty, going against Josh Allen at 3 o'clock. And then we have Dallas going against San Francisco here. And we're going to start with the quarterbacks here. It's just plain and simple. Who do you like? We got Josh Allen, who's probably projected to be the best play on overall for the whole weekend. And against Cincinnati, or we got Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott, or the up-and-coming Mr. Irrelevant quarterback called Brock Purdy, who is proving to be very relevant today. Who do you like and what are you going to do?
I think I want to just hit the X on Dak Prescott. I don't care how many lineups it is. Running 150, still hit the X on Dak Prescott. And then I think I would probably go 50% Josh Allen, 25 Purdy, 25 Burrow, maybe a little less Burrow, a little more Purdy. So in terms of their owner, like Josh Allen is the optimal one. He's the one I would try and shoot for. He's the one I try and get to. And then Brock Purdy is the one I like the best for his price and for his current projected ownership. Joe Burrow, especially on a small slate like this, like I always make Joe Burrow teams. I always make Joe Burrow stacks. You never want to X him out. But I think he falls actually number 3 for me on the board. And I would want to roll with Josh Allen or Brock Purdy.
I agree with you, and I kind of agree with you. Just get your sentiment there. I'm definitely probably not playing Dak. San Francisco's weakness in their whole defense is their secondary, so that might make me want to play a little bit of Dak. It's something I got to think about come Sunday, but he is definitely going to be probably the lowest owned of the 4, I think. So I think he should definitely be rostered as on a tournament basis for sure. I like Joe Burrow a lot here in this spot against Buffalo. I do like Josh Allen a lot as well. So I would be probably getting more so 40% Joe Burrow, 40%. I would say 40% Joe Burrow, 40% Josh Allen, and probably do like 15% Brock Purdy and 5% Dak. That's the way I would break it up here. I think that's the way I would play it out for sure. I think Josh Allen and Joe Burrow just on equal playing fields right now. They both have great targets they can throw the ball to here, and I think you have to play one of them for sure. I think one of them is going to be the optimal lineup. I think you just do that and find another way to get different. I wouldn't be surprised though, because Brock Purdy surprised me last week and put him a monster game. I would not be surprised if that happens here with Brock Purdy. But other than that, I think that would be it for me.
I like it. Let's pivot over to the running back position because I think the biggest question is going to be, can you play Christian McCaffrey and Josh Allen together? Is there room to play Christian McCaffrey and Josh Allen in the same lineup? McCaffrey is obviously the best running back play on the slate. For me, the next 2 best after that are going to be Singletary or Cook. I would probably only want to pick one of them if I was playing them with Josh Allen, but I do think you can play both of them together in a lineup that you don't have Josh Allen. I actually think it's like a super weird and interesting build that you can make to go like you can pair Josh Allen with and do a full Bill stack this week because it's a 2-game slate. You can do a full Bill stack with Josh Allen, 2 running backs, and a tight end. None of his receivers. And I think it's viable.
Josh Allen, 2 his receivers, and no
receivers. Two running backs. two running backs and a tight end. As like so and go Josh Allen, James Cook, Devin Singletary, Dawson Knox.
I've never heard of that type of different. Like,
I have to make this lineup. I just think that's a very interesting way to finish first because nobody else is going to do it. But let's go back to talking kind of optimally here. My 2 favorites are going to be McCaffrey with the Buffalo guys, and then that's kind of where Mixon and Pollard come in for me after that.
Yeah, sorry, I have to build this. I got in my head now. Wow. That could work
because and you feel like you can get some top pieces of San Francisco in there with their defense, and then it actually lines up pretty darn perfectly for you to throw in 2 Cincinnati run backs on that team too. So I actually think that's a very viable way to get different on this 2-game slate.
Oh my God. I mean, it's very, very the probability of that is very, very, very slim, but it's very, very, very interesting and a unique build. Like, just looking at that right there, oh my God.
What if Josh Allen throws one to one of the running backs, another one of the running backs rushes it in, and then Allen throws one more touchdown to Knox and rushes a touchdown? No touchdown for Diggs or Davis, and therefore they don't get there, or maybe a rando caught one like Khalil Shakir or a backup tight end, and then that's still just good for Allen, and not other people are going to have it. Like I think it's reasonable.
It's very unique and very different. If someone takes this and wins with it, we want 3% of the profits. No, we don't
I
want
want the
nothing
shout
from
out
it.
on Twitter. That's all I want is the shout out on
Yes,
Twitter.
we at least give us a shout out because that is more than anything we should, and especially for something like this. This is wow, very different. But I
I
get that
think you can
lineup a
do it.
lot.
I think you can do, and so the two ways I'd think about running this would be like you can either do that with the Buffalo backs, or you can go with Josh Allen. You could run double San Francisco and put Elijah Mitchell and Christian McCaffrey. Elijah Mitchell is another running back I like quite a bit, and then you pair them with San Fran's defense, and that's how you get the receivers in there. I also think like you can try like I think you can pair Brock Purdy with either or both of his running backs as well this week. I want to be full stacking still, but I really don't care what positions they're in.
Yeah, and I definitely don't mind that too. It definitely agree with you with some of the positions, especially with San Francisco. Because they're a unique situation with their case, and they just think of everything outside of the box there with Shanahan. Um, but running back wise, Chris McCaffrey obviously is a top play. I think he deserves to be. He's in a great position. I don't mind a guy like James Cook a lot or Elijah Mitchell. They're interesting, very, very, very interesting GPP plays that no one's going to be on. Samaje P. Ryan, didn't he score in that game against Buffalo before it got
I
canceled?
rank both Dallas running backs last on this list. Like I want to play
I'm not
both
playing
running
them at
backs
all.
for all other three teams. So McCaffrey and Mitchell, Cook and Singletary, Mixon and Pirine. I'd rather play all of those guys over either Dallas running back. I
I
might just hit
definitely agree.
I might just hit the X button today on every Dallas player not named Dalton Schultz or CeeDee Lamb.
I would play those guys for sure, and just I'll play the passing game. Might just play them strictly, which I don't mind Tony Pollard because he does catch some passes out of the backfield. So he's the only guy I don't mind keeping in as a running back here. I think you also have to think about Kyle Juszczyk here because he can get some work. This is his time of the year in the playoffs where they just run packages for him where he gets in the end zone or does something crazy and weird and score a touchdown. So he's still, I think, you have to consider as an option as well today. Let's move on to the wide receivers here where we have Jamar Chase headlining it out here, going against Buffalo, followed by Stephon Diggs and CeeDee Lamb and Debo Samuel as the top four here. What are you looking at from here with these receivers?
Diggs is going to be my favorite just because I think he's the most underpriced of the group. Chase, obviously, right alongside him there. But if I'm picking one of the two, it's going to be Diggs for me. And then go to a guy like T. Higgins next. I like Higgins a little bit better than Gabe Davis, and I like Diggs a little bit better than Jamar Chase. But all four of those plays are great options. And then I think second to Diggs, though, my next favorite is going to be Debo Samuel. You mentioned this on our last FanDuel Friday show. He's just a different beast in playoffs. He had 3 rushing attempts, rushing touchdown. He had 9 targets for 6 receptions and another receiving touchdown last game. So Debo is a guy that we want to get to. I think I rank them Diggs, Debo, Chase, Higgins, Gabe Davis, CeeDee Lamb, in terms of like that crew. And then my favorite salary saver is going to be Tyler Boyd at 5.6K.
Yeah, Tyler Boyd is definitely getting a lot of looks for being able to play him a lot here. Um, Debo might be a lock for me. Like, it's playoff time. I want to play the guys who I know are going to get a lot of touches and a lot of work. And you just want to, and in football, you want to put the ball in your best players' hands. So that's Debo and Christian McCaffrey for the 49ers here, mainly, and Kittle. But Debo, I'm gonna try to get a lot of him. He might be a lock for me personally, and get a lot of exposure to him. I love taking Jamar Chase as my second favorite wide receiver, honestly, because I'm so high on Joe Burrow. I think they're gonna win that game. But I still saw. I'm not denying also what Diggs was doing out there because Diggs was putting in a lot of work in that last game before it got stopped. And I hope DeMar Hamlin is safe and healing well, recovering well from what happened on the field. But I think Stephon Diggs also was getting a lot, doing really well. So he's someone I definitely would play a lot of. I do like T Higgins a lot as well too. Any of these Cincinnati receivers, I just don't mind taking shots on. Like I think you can play them all and be fine with them. That's why I love the versatility of them because you can play Chase. You can make a double stack where it becomes Chase and Higgins, Chase
That's
and
why it's
Boyd,
so
right?
fun to mess
Or
with those
Boyd.
receivers and then
Uh,
save salary with the
yeah,
Buffalo running backs.
it is. It kind of is. It's very interesting. I might run it now myself too, but it's so different because you don't know who's going to have the big game. Because to me, Cincinnati has two number one receivers in Jamar Chase and T Higgins, and Tyler Boyd is a number two receiver that's playing the third receiver role. They are really really good. They all play their roles really well, and any one of them can have a big game at any given time and they all are happy with it. So to me, I love the side of the ball a lot more. Brandon Ayuk also is nothing to sleep on here. Gabe Davis comes in last for me because I think Isaiah McKenzie, with him being back here, if he's fully healthy, I think he might be in store for a big game here in this spot against Cincinnati.
I don't know. I've been trying to make Isaiah McKenzie happen a lot this year, but I just kind of feel like he's sort of just in the same boat as these other slot receivers now. I feel like they like Shakir almost as much. They got Big Beasley as that little security blanket to have now. So I don't know how much McKenzie is going to get. I think I might want to wait for one more week on him. And I do like Gabe Davis quite a bit, but he falls behind Diggs. At the tight end position, we got four guys who, like, from a point. Sorry, chair just dropped down. From a point per dollar standpoint, like, they're basically all the exact same play. Hurst is cheapest. Knox is next cheapest. Schultz and Kittle. I actually prioritize Schultz the least of the four, even though he's been playing very, very well lately. I did mention he's one of two Dallas players I would want to get to today between he and CD Lamb, but I think he actually falls below Kittle, Knox, and Hurst for me. Maybe not quite below Hurst, but below Kittle and Knox.
I have probably Hayden Hurst is my favorite of them all. I'm going to play a lot of Hayden Hurst today, or Sunday, I should say. And then I'm going to play Dawson Knox also as well. Those are my two favorite receivers. And then followed by George Kittle, like you said, he's Schultz going to be the least, uh, in my opinion. But Hurts, Knox, then Kittle, then Schultz. That's how I have it.
At the defense position, 49ers and Bills are going to be the two chalky ones. But between the Cowboys and Bengals, I think if you're going to take a shot on one of the cheap ones, save salary all the way down to the Bengals. We saw what can happen to Buffalo's offense, even though they put up points. Josh Allen can still get sacked and turn the ball over a little bit. So I think, like, obviously the San Francisco is the first one you want to go with if it's like a cash game. But the Bengals make for a very interesting tournament team.
Yeah, I like San Francisco number one overall, and then the Cincinnati Bengals as my second favorite defense. They are a really good defense. They are underrated. They had a lot of offseason signings that are working out well and playing well for them. So don't sleep on Cincinnati and their defense. To me, I think they're really, really good. I got the ranked second, and then follow that by the Cowboys and then the Buffalo Bills.
I love it.
All right. So, do you have any strong takes before we get out of here, as we about to finish up this Saturday and the Sunday slate?
You can pair two running backs together, and you can even do it with your quarterback. As weird as it sounds this week, it's a 2-game slate, but you can make it work. Other than that, from a betting standpoint, I like San Francisco plus or minus 3.5. Then I actually like Cincinnati plus 5.5 in this one. So I like the road dog and the home favorites in this one. But yeah, that's about it for me.
Yeah, and you know me, I'm gonna take some stands here. I like Cincinnati money line. Go play that, and I like San Francisco money line. So let's go get it. And I also like anytime TD for Kenny Galladay.
Don't you do it. I will leave this studio right now.
And then I also like the money line. I like the money line for the Eagles, and I do like the money line for who's the other for Kansas City. And if you want to, if you're in a, and also if you're in legal betting, say put some of these matches if you like them. But also, if you can pick up the teams to match up in the Super Bowl, I got Cincinnati going against the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl. So I will go try to get place that bet in because that's who my pairing is going to be. I'm not sure who's going to win yet, but we will get to that more when we come back here next week for another edition of FanDuel Friday. I am Andre. This is TJ. We hope you enjoy the show. Leave a comment, like this button if you want to see more of this content. Hope you have a good one.